Introduce Ted Rogers, the founder of Rogers Communications. And I was the master of ceremonies, and he's 6'6" or 6'8". He's very tall. And they had a podium, and if I stood behind the podium, you could just see me. So I put this little stand right beside here, and I just stood eyeball to eyeball to Ted Rogers. And after, people went, did we? Anyway, so I am on a stool. As a public speaker, I learned a good number of years ago, body language is so important that you need to see the body. Dare to Dream and Dare to Believe was a spectacular speech for me, and I feel the electricity as I remember it now. Because I looked out into the audience in Bellevue and saw so many of the members from Victoria. And their enthusiasm brought the electricity alive in that room. There were 9 competitors, 1 Canadian, 8 Americans. I knew that I'd have to have a speech that touched the hearts of the U.S. audience. And Jesse Owens had just died. Crass, but important to think of those things. Jesse Owens was the 10th son of a sharecropper in Alabama. His mother had the vision for a better life. So she was the one that convinced everybody we should move to Alabama. Father wasn't that keen, but the mother led the way. They went from Alabama to Cleveland. When Jesse was in elementary school, a fellow by the name of Riley was watching him at recess. Now Jesse saw him watching, and then when Jesse was ready to get into junior high, Chuck Riley came over and he said, "I've been watching you. Would you like to run track when you go to junior high?" "Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir." He'd never had a white man actually come up to him and talk to him. And he said, "You have to be out every day after school for 90 minutes. "Oh, yes, sir." And then it dawned on him. He went running after Coach Riley. He said, I have 2 jobs after school. 1 delivering groceries and 1 working in a greenhouse. Riley said, "That's no problem. Are you prepared to work out in the morning?" That's the essence that not many people know about the Jesse Owens stories. "Oh, yes, sir." And he was there every morning training. He had good natural talent. But Riley noticed that he needed something more. He noticed when he ran, he tried to stare down his opponents. You have heard this business about having a game face? Forget it. You have the game face on. Riley said, "I'm going to take you and show you some real track athletes. Come on with me." They went down to the local racetrack, horse racing. Jesse's, "I don't know what I'm doing here," and he's watching it, race after race. And then Chuck Riley said, "Well, what do you notice?" "Well," he says, "I notice they're very strong, and when they get out front, they stay out there." "What else?" "I notice they're very relaxed." And it was from that point that Jesse Owens became known for his emotionless but relaxed running style. How many people know that that's where he got it? He got it from the inspiration of Riley taking him to a horse track. Riley also made an opportunity. They had Charlie Paddock come and speak at their school. Now, Charlie Paddock had won a gold and silver medal in the 1920 Olympics and also in the 1924 Olympics. Jesse went up to him and he said, "Could I be like you?" Paddock said, "If you're prepared to run every day, yes." That that little inspirational message meant so much. Jesse wasn't concerned that Paddock was a white man, but he knew that his aspiration to be a great runner was going to pay off. And it did. In 1936, Nazism was running rampant throughout Europe. And Adolf Hitler wanted to use the Olympics to showcase the Aryan race. Not so quick, Adolf. Not so quick. In the first event that Jesse's in, he won the 100 meters. Hitler wasn't there for the awards ceremony that day because he kind of thought Jesse Owens might win it. But he was there for the long jump because Lutz Long, the famous German jumper, was expected to win. Jesse went down on the first run and he thought it was just a practice jump. You see, sometimes you run down the runway just to get your markings. The judges said, no, that's a miss. That's a miss. That's right. He went down the next time. And if you know, on the board, his foot was over the board that much. That's another miss. That's 2 misses, and if you have 3, you don't go into the finals. Lutz Long came over to him and he said, Jesse, if you start back just a little bit further, a little bit different, you'll make a jump and you'll get into the finals. Lutz Long was the German jumper that was expected to win. Jesse did that, made it into the finals, and won the gold medal. In those Olympics, Jesse won 4 gold medals. But what's interesting about the day on the long jump, you looked up in the stands where Adolf Hitler was prepared to give the medals, and you saw him slithering out the back door because he wasn't prepared to be there and award the medal to Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens said, all of the medals I've ever won, all the trophies I've ever won, you could melt them down and they wouldn't equal the 24-carat friendship that I've had with Lutz Long. Dare to dream and dare to believe that you can achieve. There's a recent book out called The Talent Code, just out in the last few years, and said there are 3 major ingredients if you want to achieve success. That's whether it's in sport, music, or Toastmasters. 1 is a master coach. 2 is ignition. That's somebody that'll inspire you. And 3, you get 10,000 hours of deep practice. Jesse had the master coach, his mother, and his track coaches. He had the inspiration, which was Charlie Paddock. And boy, he put in his 10,000 hours. We now know that to be the best in music, in speaking, in sports, you put in the hours with the master coach and the deep practice, and you can achieve success. I received this magazine yesterday, and I just tore the cover off. Get a picture of Tasha.
Oh.
In her message to Toastmasters. Now, in an article in the June edition, and I did write the whole speech out, Pat, and this is the only part I'm going to read. Sidebar, Pat has always said, Vic, to be great, you need to write your whole speech out. And then she told me tonight, well, that's fine, but you're not allowed to read it. But she said it'd be okay to read this part. International President Pat Johnson eloquently addressed the subject of dreams and legacy. Her comments are so apropos to this story of Jesse Owens that I want to quote from part of her article. When we as leaders make the choice to turn dreams into realities, The future fills with exciting opportunities. Big dreams stretch us and pull us forward while providing a meaning to our lives. Because ambitious goals are often outside our comfort zone. They challenge us to show a greater degree of creativity in order to reach them. She goes on to say, we need to imagine the bigger picture and hold on to the vision and ideals of what can be. The vision that comes from our heart. We need to move forward towards our vision, realizing our dreams, and creating our legacy. That's what's happened tonight. The legacy of this club of 30 years ago. And I appreciate Pat Johnson being here. I appreciate the head table. I appreciate the fellow Toastmasters. And that's how you're supposed to start a speech, but I'm creative. Mr. Toastmaster.